Let's try Robin from Aarhus.
Hi,
Robin.
can you hear me?
Yes. Where is Aarhus? Is that
It,
Australia?
no, that's in Denmark.
Denmark. Oh, okay. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks for taking my call, David. I enjoy your show very much.
Pleasure.
It's very interesting. I'm a rather politically active myself in Denmark on the left wing, and I follow American politics with interest. And your show is very interesting to listen to.
Thank you.
Um, I was just wondering. I'd like to hear your opinion on something, which is one thing I've noticed very much in the American political discourse is sort of a lack of knowledge about what's going on in the rest of the world.
Mm.
It seems to me to be a problem on both sides of your political spectrum over there. Obviously, the right wing is totally oblivious about what's going on in the rest of the world, especially when talking about things like healthcare and the welfare state and so on.
Yes.
We generally laugh at them very much over here. I'm sorry to say. But I've also noticed it sometimes on the left, where we sometimes have this sort of feeling that, let me give you an example. When you finally legalized gay marriage in America, there was like huge demonstrations like this is going to be great for the whole world, and we were
Right.
like, we've had this for decades over
Right.
here. It's like
Yeah.
this isn't new. It's
I
great for
agree
you. I
with
mean,
you. I
you're
agree with
getting
you.
it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and to some degree, I
yeah.
mean, listen, I'm guilty of this myself to some degree. I do a show mostly on American politics, and that limits the amount of time that I spend following the politics of other countries other than Argentina because I'm from there, and so I follow the
Mm,
politics there somewhat closely. But for example, should I be more informed about what's happening in Ethiopia right now? Absolutely. I have a sense of what's going on, and I've read a few articles, but I should be more informed. Should I be more informed about what's happening in the Congo right now? Yeah, there's no question about it. And I think that there's one aspect of it that I think is important to recognize, which is it is natural that the world will follow the news more of countries that are setting some of the cultural lines of sort of like global culture. And in that sense, technologically and culturally, the US is very important. It's not singularly important. So to some degree, it's logical. And also because of the size of the US, I understand why, for example, folks in Denmark are probably better informed about American politics than Americans about Danish politics. Like to a degree, that makes sense. But I agree
Yeah, of
with you
course.
that Americans are underinformed globally for sure.
Yeah, just my point is mainly just that it would be healthy because I believe that, for example, most Danish people, obviously not all, because we've got loads of different political opinions here as well, but most
Yep.
Danish people would be able to say with a certain extent of accuracy what most other countries think of Denmark, for example.
Ah,
But I don't get that feeling from Americans. I don't get the feeling that you like. If I were to ask an American, what do you think? What do you think this? What do you think the generally the idea of you is in Spain, for example? I don't think most Americans would really know. It
well,
seemed.
there's a
Am I wrong
couple
about that?
different there's
Maybe.
a couple different things there. I mean, number one, global opinion of the US was very low during the Trump era, other than Russia, I believe Turkey, and there was one African country, I forget which had sort of like an unusually high favorability. But most of the world was pretty disgusted with the US under Trump. Much of
Yeah.
that reputation has recovered under Biden. And so part of it, there's two things there. One is, depending on who's president, we elect sometimes such wacky people that opinion of the US changes drastically up and down around the world. The second piece of it is there's lots of Republicans who don't want to accept the reality of global opinion of the US. And so
Yeah.
whether they know or don't know, they certainly don't want to accept it.
No, that's true. But it was very interesting to get your opinion. Thank you very much for taking my call, David. That was
My
very
pleasure.
interesting.
Where in Denmark do you live? Is it possible to ask?
Well, Aarhus is the second largest city in Denmark. It's on the eastern coast of Jutland,
Wow,
which
I've
is
never been
the
to that region. I have only been to Copenhagen and some immediately surrounding areas. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And in fact, when I was bicycling in Copenhagen, a viewer of mine stopped me on the bike path and said, I watch you from Denmark. And we took a picture together. It's on my Instagram.
Yeah, I know several people who know you. I mean, it's very interesting watching you. You have a very sort of it's a very objective. Uh, you have a very nice object. It doesn't seem like you're preaching, which is we appreciate that in Denmark. So
I appreciate your appreciation of it.
yes, thanks for
Thanks
talking
very
to me,
much.
David.
Appreciate it. Yeah, take care. Very, very interesting call. Yeah, loving it. Absolutely loving hearing from some of these folks. Let's go next to, how about Zach from West Virginia? What's happening in West Virginia with Joe Manchin?
Hey, what's going on, David?
How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can. You're coming through pristine today.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So my main question was, I actually had two questions. If that's fine. One is it's kind of a vague question. It's how historical do you think the moment we're living in, like this decade in particular, is?
I have no idea whatsoever. And that's one of those things where, I could give you some hot take on it. It would just be a guess. I really don't know. We don't know that until we look back and kind of have more context. I think that there's the potential for this decade as an important inflection moment because in 2016, the US elected Trump and we saw this slide globally to authoritarianism. We may be getting out of that or we may not. And so I do think over the next 10 years, we're going to see what are the following 50 maybe going to look like in terms of whether this authoritarianism and right-wing nationalism takes hold or it's rejected. But to say exactly the level of importance of this decade, I think we're really just guessing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought as well. But anyways, my second question was,
Please.
I noticed you saying on your show a couple of times that you play drums in a band. Now, is there any video of this band playing that we could see?
That's a good question. There may be. If you went, I'm not in a band currently, but the last band I was in was a band called Tin Fingers, not 10, but tin, like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. And I think it's plausible that there are videos from some of our performances in the Brooklyn area on YouTube. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, I'll have to go. I'm on a deep dive for that. All right.
Please. Absolutely. Yeah. No, we had some great material.
All right, Dave. This isn't the first time I'm going to call, but I'll let you go.
You mean this isn't the last time, you mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It is the first time, but it won't be the last time. All right. Very good. All right. Thank you so much. Great call from West Virginia. Beautiful audio. I mean, whatever they're doing in West Virginia, infrastructure-wise, big picture, it sounds bad, but that call was a beautiful, beautiful call. Let's take a quick break. If you're holding, don't hang up because I'm going right back to Discord, davidpakman.com/Discord, and we'll hear from a few more people in a moment. One of the best ways that you can support what we do at the David Pakman Show is supporting some of our awesome sponsors. Today, one of those awesome sponsors is Sheath Underwear. A lot of us know all too well about the sticking and the rubbing and the chafing with traditional underwear, especially this time of year as the weather is getting warm. Sheath Underwear have created unique boxer briefs with multiple ergonomic compartments in the front, preventing skin-on-skin contact. Everything stays separate, comfortable, dry, and cool. No more sweatiness, no more chafing, no more readjusting. It's a lifesaver. Sheath Underwear is giving the David Pakman Show audience 20% off when you go to sheathunderwear.com/Pakman and use the promo code Pakman. Give Sheath Underwear a shot. I've had a great experience. I believe you will too. You can find the link underneath this video and don't forget to use promo code Pakman for 20% off.